No, I don't think that's me.
Can you make an announcement afterwards that anybody who forgot, who didn't get a chance to talk to, if they'd like to fill out a visitor card, let us know. And I can hand those out if anybody else.
I'll do it during announcements. But I will be there. Yeah. Welcome. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday service of Metro East Unitarian Universalist Congregation on November 10th, 2024. I'm Peg Flack, and I've been a member since the 1980s. I'd have to look in the big book to see exactly which year, when I was seeking a spiritual community for me and my two young children. And that led to teaching RE, which is religious education in our faith, and being the Sunday school chair, leadership school, 8 years on the board. And now I seem to be kind of drawn to PR and fundraising and event planning as we transition from our home that was in Alton for many, many years and is now here. We're led by the Reverend Dr. Claudia Hall and gratefully share this sacred space with the Edwardsville Masonic Lodge. And in the pulpit today is my friend, Ruth Kubitschek, my clay buddy, my yoga teacher, my tie-up pontoon boat sidekick, a solid rock of support for many levels in my life and many other people's lives too. Her sermon is entitled, Shift Happens. Carefully, shift. We welcome everyone to our home of comfort, spirit, guidance, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. We began our worship with a prelude by our accompanist, Joy Heft. The flaming chalice can represent the light of reason, the warmth of community, the flame of hope. Today, I'm going to tap into this G. I always try to think of a good word that represents this G, which is the Masons, but we kind of appropriated it. And today, it's gratitude for this gathering of friends and those of us that are here today. For you online, feel free to light a candle to join us in solidarity. Just fight with these. Okay, let's try this one. Please join me in reading our words. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage. And now please join in singing Loving Kindness. We will sing all three verses in hymn number 1031 in the hymnal, or it will be projected up here. Rise as you are able. Please be seated. Today's message shifts between the leaves of our core UU beliefs and principles. You may pick one, you may pick them all today. They are all growing into the message that we will share. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time to express joys, concerns, or sorrows. If you would like to recognize a joy, sorrow, or milestone, please loop around the back and from the back and come forward and place a stone or several stones in the water bowl to represent your joys or sorrows, a symbol of what you carry in your heart today. And let us be in a spirit of prayer and meditation. I place a stone to invoke harmony in these stressful times. Reflecting today's theme, we offer a short story for all ages. Nice to have something uplifting. We will now dismiss our children to their activities. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Go now. And now please welcome Ruth Kubicek.
Thank you, Peg. Shift happens all the time. Sometimes it feels like it's raining down shift. Change and uncertainty are the only constants we can depend on. As we navigate these changes, we are reminded of the enduring presence of what unites us all: love, hope, and compassion, which remain steadfast amidst life's uncertainties. This sermon is about what life lessons I have learned as a psychotherapist and yoga teacher in riding the waves of heartache, tribulations, trials, and joys. Join me in exploring some stories that may make you laugh and cry and walk together to create a sense of deepening community and mutual understanding. So Peg asked me to talk to you a while ago, and no was what I thought. And then she said, well, Sayer gave a sermon here. Well, Sayer gave a sermon. Well, okay. Because I love Sayer. I think he's awesome. But what should I talk about? What do you need to hear? This was written before the election. Harvesting the wisdom of my life, all the things I've learned, condensed into 15 to 20 minutes. It will be a few days after the election, so anything I write now may be obsolete. So what wisdom is the most important to share now? Well, one of the things that came to me was a story about the black leather jacket. When my father was young, teenager, and was poor and lived on the south side, on the west side of Chicago, all the cool boys wore black leather jackets. He wanted a black leather jacket, but they were poor and they couldn't afford one. So he got a job and he saved money and he gave his paychecks to his father to keep for him. So when he was finally ready and he had enough money, he went to his father and asked for the money that he'd earned. And his father told him, I'm sorry, son, but we needed that money for groceries. And instead of being enraged, by the time he could buy one, he didn't want it or need it anymore. And what he learned from that is sometimes the best things in life are the things we let go of, the things we like drugs, alcohol, overspending. So instead of raging, my father said that something shifted inside of him, and he no longer wanted the jacket. In fact, he felt better not having the jacket. We develop habits and attachments, ways of thinking that determine what we feel, do, and ultimately our character and destiny. There's another example. Some of you have heard of the ham story, where I see a nod. So mom's baking a ham, cuts off the ends of the ham, puts it in the pan, sticks it in the oven. And the daughter says, Mom, why are you cutting off the ends of the ham? You're wasting the ham. And the mom says, it's how you make a ham. It's how my mom made the ham. And the daughter said, well, why? Why do you cut off the ends? I don't know. So she asks her mother. So grandmother's asked, why grandmother did you cut off the ends of the ham? And the grandmother said, I only had one pan. And the ham wouldn't fit in the pan. So I cut off the ends, put it in the pan, put it in the oven, bingo. So how many of us continue to do things habitually that we've always done because that's the way they do it without even thinking about it? So hopefully this is about opening ourselves up to new ways of thinking. We have, speaking of thinking, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, most of them are the same ones. We recycle the same thoughts over and over again, doing the same things. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that what we think determines what we feel, which determines what we do, which determines our habits, which determines our character, and ultimately our destiny. So how many of us think about what we think about and change it? Because negativity is the cause of unhappiness. So if I'm recycling something negative, I'm going to feel unhappy. So we have the power and the ability. It's one of the few things right now we have control over is our thoughts. Choose wisely the power of thought. The ham story is reflected very well in one of my favorite poems that I frequently give to clients. How many of you have read the poem titled Autobiography in 5 Chapters? Anybody ever heard it? By Portia Nelson? It's very short. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I fall in. It's a habit. But my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. Can anybody relate? Yeah. So speaking of streets, here's another story. One of my favorites. My husband Ken and I used to party with priests 43 years ago. They like to party. They like to drink. They like to eat a lot. And they're really fun to party with. Well, one of them, and this was back in pre-sober days. So back then, we somehow, I can't even remember why, but Ken and I were in the car with Father Al Corto, one of the guys we used to party with. And we're driving down 159. He's driving the car down 159. and he starts to get really giddy, happy. I'm like, what's going on? He, every time, you know, on 159, how people are trying to cut in, get in, and most people just don't let him in. Well, Father Courteau couldn't wait to let every single car cut in front because he was doing a good deed. It was, for me, I'd never seen somebody's joy from being of service before. It was an example. It was shifting for me to see that. His heart was so pure that he got such joy from such a little good deed. Being of service was not something I learned growing up on the south side of Chicago. I had the typical childhood full of molestation, sexual abuse, alcoholism, chemical dependency, mental illness, and a man broke into my bedroom and attacked me. It took me years of inner work and practice to move from being a victim, feeling like a victim, to realizing how easy I had it, how normal that was, and for gratitude for every experience that brought more resilience and gratitude and awareness of my privilege. In fact, there was a video of Palestinian and Israeli mothers saying, when the interview asked, how are you doing? All they said was, there's no joy anymore. And I realize how much joy there is if we get the 60 to 70,000 thoughts shifted to the joy that we experience. Shift happens. Change is a fundamental aspect of existence. From the turning of the seasons to the phases of our lives, nothing remains static. Yet, in a world that often feels chaotic, we can find solace in understanding that change is a natural part of our journey. Each shift invites us to look deeper into ourselves and our connections with others. I see a lot of people who are depressed, insecure, lost, bored, ashamed, fragile, angry, and right now scared shiftless. Sorry. Whoops, shiftless. And angry, and there is an epidemic of loneliness, especially in men. Shifting out of that rabbit hole of recycling all of our miseries by focusing our attention on something that will pull us out of the muck, like Picasso. Picasso said that our mission in life is to find our gifts, and our purpose in life is to use those gifts. What are your gifts? Peg is an example of someone whose gifts are vast and uses them in the service of generosity. She is an example of living the Serenity Prayer, and I'm grateful to have her in my life. The Serenity Prayer is a spiritual tool and a gift for managing life's shifts. So I don't know how many of you have heard of Stephen Cope. He's a writer, he's a psychotherapist, yoga teacher. He worked at the Kripalu Center. It teaches yoga teachers to be teachers. And he probably got this from Buddhism, but he would say often that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And I love his quote. He says, we suffer because we are not who we want to be. Others aren't who we want them to be. Life isn't the way we want it to be. So the solution is to accept us as we are, you as you are, life as it is, in order not to suffer. How much acceptance and serenity are you feeling in your life right now? Yeah. UU celebrates the search for truth and meaning, recognizing that certainty is often an illusion. Shifts can provoke anxiety and fear, but they also represent opportunities for growth. Consider the shift we are in right now, or in our personal lives, changing or losing jobs, retiring, new careers, caretaking elderly partners, loss of loved ones. Each of these moments, while challenging, can lead us to deeper self-discovery and greater empathy. Here comes the hard part. Life can be scary. One second, your daughter is dancing with her bestie, living the dream. 5 minutes later, she's lying on the dirty floor of a hookah bar, writhing while being filmed by gawkers, then unconscious in the ambulance when you get the call in the middle of the night to come to the emergency room, which is over 4 hours away. She wakes up in the emergency room, kicking everywhere, but cannot feel her legs, a sensation she will never forget. Furtive calls throughout the night on the way to the ER, checking in as her roommate Max, who we're forever grateful for, and friends stood by her side. Thank God, everything worked out, and she is okay. She is the light of our lives. That horror changed her. Trauma creates an inner seismic shift, as most of you already know. Trauma lingers. Experiences affect our body and mind. At one point, when I hugged my husband after we got the call, my body would not stop shaking, fear manifesting inside. As a therapist, I know each of you, everyone, has trauma to some degree that needs and deserves to be released and healed. Existential fear seems to be pervasive. We experience the pandemic, social injustice, wars in Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, disasters increasing from climate change, a threatened and vulnerable democracy, and systems that are broken and in desperate need of rebuild. Have we experienced worse? Will we survive what's coming? How do we manage all the emotions, rage, and despair? This election is the biggest global shift. Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, wrote a book titled Night about the Holocaust, which I read when my father gave it to me as a child. Elie Wiesel lost all of his family members in the Holocaust. Reading the book forever shifted something inside of me. Elie Wiesel wrote about history repeating itself, lest we forget what happened. History repeats itself if we don't learn from it. In the 4 decades of listening to clients share their feelings, I've learned many things. One is that relationships are difficult. A lot of people through the 40 plus years I've been working come in and, relationships are hard. They talk about their spouses and vent and release and then go back home and get more resentments, come back and release more resentments. And then their spouse sometimes passes away and they come back and they say, I miss them. I wish I'd not focused on their defects. I wish I had loved what was instead of hated what wasn't. That taught me to love my husband and appreciate him a lot more. Recently, a client I've been working with went back into rehab for alcoholism and didn't believe in God, doesn't believe in God, atheist, agnostic. And all the meetings were God, 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 grant me the serenity, God, God, God. And he was like, it just turned him off. But he had to go, so he kept going to meetings, all these AA meetings, all this God reference. And he's heard everybody else's stories, all these drunk stories, and got really close to all these drunks because they could relate. And he felt really close, and he started enjoying going to meetings and just ignoring the references to God, but they still kind of upset him. So one day, one of the guys, alcoholics in AA, said to him, don't worry about not believing in God. You do believe in God. You know why? You know what God is? God is a group of drunks. That fellowship. that care, that love, that understanding, that connection. Yeah. So, is all that matters fellowship, connection, love, service, gratitude? Without connection, there is aloneness. Without love, what is there? Who cares? When we know that someone cares, shift happens. When I shattered my leg in a biking accident, it changed my life. I couldn't walk for a while. Friends came over with food or just came over and talked and cared. And that caring healed me and healed something inside as well. Taught me empathy for the disabled, and it taught me how to pray. So, resilience is the key in navigating life's inevitable shifts. It's the ability to bounce back, to find strength in adversity. In UU faith tradition, you draw on the wisdom of many sources, from the teachings of Buddhism on impermanence to the narratives of social justice leaders who face significant obstacles. We learn that resilience is not just personal, it's communal. Together, we can support one another through life's transitions, cultivating a spirit of hope and solidarity. So we're all on the hero journey. Something bad happens, you're a victim, then you survive, then you thrive, and then you become a hero by helping others do the same. Sayer is a hero. Peg is a hero. This church, this community is heroic in helping others come together in unity and acceptance. Thank you.
Our final hymn is projected on the screen. Please remain seated, and we will sing all three verses. Our community of faith is supported only by your giving, and stewardness is giving time, giving resources as you are able. There's a slide that gives you vital information about financial contributions, and you can also check our church's website. However, if you are new today, this service is our gift to you. You're not in any way obligated to contribute. Give what you will and as you can, for we are a generous people. please join with me in our offering prayer. May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. And now we have some announcements. There are visitor cards that are available up here at the podium or in the gathering room after the service if anyone's interested in receiving our emails and correspondence. Also, we have an announcement from Suzanne.
I wanted to announce that I'm going to be part of a studio tour on.
I know it's you gotta negotiate the steps. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Suzanne Oberholzer. I live here in Edwardsville, only about a mile from this our meeting house here. I'm going to be part of a studio tour, a Madison County studio tour sponsored by Edwardsville Art Center and the Jacoby Art Center. It's a revival of Art East that hasn't happened for at least a decade. I do sculptural handmade paper, but they're reviving this studio tour that used to be a big deal with many, many studios on the tour. It'll be December 7th and 8th. I will put the details in the newsletter, so keep your eye out for that. But I'm very excited about opening my home studio to the public. So the details will be there. Keep your eye out, and I would love to see you if you want to come by. That weekend will be Saturday and Sunday. And there will be demonstrations as well.
And Mickey was wanting to encourage any veterans that are with us today to meet with her in one of the tables. Where's Mickey? She's back there. Okay, you find Mickey. If you're a veteran, she would like to discuss some topics with you. We also are scheduled for April 20, after a lot of stuff the last few months we've been doing. What? I know. So we've got we do need to break down the room today, the whole place actually. So if you're able to stay to do that, that would be great. The men's lunch group is meeting at 11:30. You'll get some social media about where that's going to be. We will be setting up the church service next week too. And there's a gathering on the 19th that you can read about. We are going to be committed to helping the Moose with their drag queen fundraiser, which we had a lot of fun with that with my 70th birthday party. So now this one, we will be there. Actually, Special Olympics made $5,000 on my birthday party. No, they did. It's because we packed the place. So now we're hoping to pack the place again, and we will be the recipients for our new building. So the Moose has been very generous to us, and so we'll be helping them with that fundraiser. The Goshen Market will start back up in the spring, and the Mary's book giveaway was a huge hit. People were like, "You're just giving us these books?" Yeah, take a book, take 2 books, and actually. The Moose has also been very generous to us after their recent rummage sale they had on site. All these children's books were left, and I went, "Can I have them?" And they went, "Oh, please take these children's books." So I have like the size of this podium full of children's books in my garage right now that we'll be able to give away to the community and expand our presence in the community of Edwardsville. We'll also be doing in July the Moose Chicken Dinner. So that's in the future, but I wanted to let you know about it, put it on your calendar, and see if you can work that into your schedule. We want to also where's my heft? Thanking that. Abundant thanks to the Heft family. Everybody because they put this thing together every week. Every week we have to sometimes tear down and put together. This site doesn't stay like this often. Sometimes we have to take it back for the Masons for their meetings and their activities, and they're very generous letting us. Generous. There we go. Generous is the G. I don't know what that stands for. I guess God. I'm not really. Does it stand for God? I assume. Yeah. So I invite you to join me as I extinguish the chalice. Is there anything else? Any other announcements? Sorry. Nope. Oh, well, yeah. Okay, I'm on the committee. That's just my personal thing. St. Louis International Film Festival. I worked for years to get the St. Louis community to build that bridge with the Metro East. And so the St. Louis International Film Festival this year has a site at the Wildey this afternoon. We have 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock performances or films. And I want us to be known as the Tivoli of the Metro East. I mean, I really want us to be part of this festival. So that's been a little project of mine. So if you've got anything going on this afternoon that you can break away for a few hours, look at the schedule, SLIF, St. Louis International Film Festival, and it's going to be a wonderful festival, and I will be there, and I'll get you some coffee. So I'm going to extinguish this chalice. Please join me in the words that you see written. Now Ruth is going to share a closing reflection, and then stay after the postlude because I've got a little surprise for you, a little short video.
So it seems like a butterfly is a good symbol right now. And what happens with a butterfly is it becomes free after it's chrysalis. So if you wouldn't mind, take your hands, turn them, cross your wrists, and bring your thumbs, into your heart like a butterfly. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. Just take a deep, slow, cleansing breath in your nose. Out your mouth. And the next inhale, breathe in love. Breathe in love from above through the crown of your head. And let every inhale spread that love throughout your body. Sending it, being so full that you send it to all beings everywhere. Breathing in that loving light, healing light. Let it be below you, above you, to the left, to the right, in front of you, behind you. Let it surround you. And allow the light within. Why we say namaste at the end of yoga class is what it means is the light inside of me sees and honors the light, the love inside of you. Hands together. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Stop.